So, I was sent a review yesterday of Hack/Loot, and it's pretty damning. They don't really have a nice thing to say about the game at all, and I'm cool with that. If that's their opinion, that's their opinion, and I respect their opinion. But then at the end of the review, I noticed that the author set out a challenge, declaring that I, the creator of Hack/Loot, would not be able to complete the game with the starting characters, which I thought was an interesting challenge, so I thought I'd take them up on the challenge, and we'll see how we get on. I'll post a link to the review here underneath this video so people can read the review and perhaps make up their own mind. Hopefully make up their own mind. But in the meantime, let's try this challenge. Just turn the music off because I'm using a rubbish microphone and I'll get feedback from the music. It's a fresh install, so let me just get it to a window size I can see. And I thought this would also be an opportunity for me to give people hints and tips about the game. In the challenge that I was set, there wasn't really many rules, just that I couldn't do Mask of the Boy King, as most people find that quest quite easy. I will choose Journey to the Kimon, and there wasn't a restriction on the character I can use, but as the author of the blog post was struggling with magic, I'll try the wizard. Another thing to note is, at this point you have started the game, so choosing your character wisely is part of the game. If I was doing Tower of the Magus, I would not choose a wizard, because a lot of the enemies have magic resistance coupled with high armor, and you would not survive. But that's the point. You choose wisely so that you can do better. Journey to the Kimon is a very balanced quest, so all three starting characters can comfortably do Journey to the Kimon. I would usually use the Saracen, as I find you get more melee drops in Journey to the Kimon, and so you can buff quicker. But the wizard's okay. There's a few levels with some magic users, so there's a chance to upgrade our staff and various other upgrades. So let's see how we get on. We don't need to read the quest explanation. I know the quests already. I'll turn the grid off because I don't like the grid, and I'll turn the log off. I might turn it back on later if we need to see any higher detail. If I was playing this for the first time, I'd assess my stats, seeing I have 0 armor and low health, so armor would seem to be my first priority. I don't do a lot of damage, so I'm not going to be great against things that have high armor, although my magic goes through armor, so that is irrelevant. I started by a barrel. One of the complaints I have about that I get often about the game is the not being able to know what's in a potion. And that's part of the risk of taking potions, but a good thing to do is look at the name of the potion. If the name of the potion is positive or has certain connotations, then you can judge fairly well what it's going to be. A salve of renown is likely to be positive, so I'm happy drinking that, and it was. That's magic and health. That's a good start. Good start. And another complaint is not knowing what's behind doors, but quite often in games you don't know what's coming around the corner, so I'm not sure what complaint that is, but there are certain things we can do. So if we look at the minimap, we see whereabouts we are in relation to the rest of the level. Now I don't want to be moving into the middle immediately, because there's more chance of there being open areas in there, and I don't want to get surrounded. So we're going to move out towards the wall. That's where we're going to move. Goblin Rager. He's got a lot of health, so I'm going to back off. As a magic user, my key strength is my range and my ability to go through people's armour, so we always want to keep as much range as possible, so backing off is the idea. Bad run of misses there, but you'll find throughout the game they even themselves out, so I'm not too worried. Excellent. We get some armour from this. Now I'm going to early on choose armour over everything else. I want to get my armour score up, and if that means my magic score will go down, I'm okay with that. Another thing about the first level, the ratio of health to damage you can take is poor, so you want to get off the first level rather soonish. So as soon as you feel capable of taking on the second level, I'd recommend moving on to it. You don't need to clear everything. Now this is opened up a ranged character and a melee character. Now if I take on the ranged character, the melee character is going to close up and they can do high damage quickly against my unarmoured magic user. So, and if we were to concentrate on the melee character, then we'd get peppered as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to back off so that neither can attack me initially. Here we go. This buys us some time. We were able to dispatch him rather easily. Now I'm not going to come forward here because he's obviously going to get a shot off. I'm going to back off and let him come to me. There we go, that keeps the distance, and ranged attacks lose 2 points of accuracy per space between you, whereas magic only loses 1, and I have a higher magic than he has ranged anyway, so the advantage is definitely with me. You should dispatch him rather easily. Oh, ring gives me magic, that's a good start. And luckily this shield gives us magic as well. So quickly find that you start to go up. Another thing with ranged characters, standing in front of a door like this, if you open it up, it's going to show as much as the room as is available, which immediately alerts the enemies to your presence, and we want more distance between us before we alert them. So if we open from the side, it gives us a better chance of, if there's monsters this side, of putting some space between us before they know we're here. And as it happens, that's what has happened. So I'm going to back off, give myself some space. And this has revealed it, and now we've got all this extra space. If we'd have opened here, he'd have been almost on top of us immediately. Yeah, back off a bit. There we go. And hopefully, oh, he got a hit. But we took care of him before. Yeah, that's not as good as what we've already got. I'm only opening doors because of my OCD there. There's no real neat reason to. Now here we could come down here and we'd be already halfway into the room. But another idea might be to come from this side, just to give us a bit of extra space. Because I mean, that's 3 spaces worth extra there. So these are things that you can think about, and again we can back off. The room was empty anyway. Another complaint there has been about is about the allies getting in the way, and they do. But that is part of them. They give you benefits and they cause you problems. As a wizard with low health, very low health, I definitely want an ally. I do not mind if he gets in the way. He can take some hits for me. Again, we're backing off here. Put some space between us and any potential. And we're clear. I personally would actually be more gung-ho than this, as I'm not worried about dying as a player. I'd just start up the next game and carry on. But for the people that don't like dying often, find it frustrating or irritating, I'm being more cautious to show you the tactics that you can use to alleviate that. Another thing to note as well is when you're playing, always be thinking of the next game. So look at the monsters that you're facing and you think, have I chosen the best character for that? Would a different character do better? What kind of items would have helped me to pick up? And you're looking mainly at damage types and vulnerabilities and things like that. You may notice that I am now moving into the middle of the level. People have various techniques. Some people on the forum have been saying go around the edge of the level first, stop yourself being surrounded. But I wish to get off this level as soon as possible, so I'm going to zigzag through the level as much as I can and try and find the exit as quickly as possible. Now I'm going to take this bow. I'm going to be cautious coming round to it, just in case there's some more enemies. I'm going to take this as a backup weapon. Even though I'm not brilliant with a bow, it is always advisable to have a backup weapon. So get one as soon as possible, even if you're rubbish with it. You don't want to be caught without a weapon. Any weapon's better than no weapon. Nice hat there. And now, items that have a material which is woodland, a woodland hood here, they will have vulnerabilities and resistances. Get on so I can show you better. This is resistant to silver damage, vulnerable to necrotic damage. It's important to watch out for these. I know from playing this quest several times, well, that later on there are several creatures, monsters, that do necrotic damage. I do not want to be wearing this hood when I get to those levels, because they will do serious amounts of damage to me, and I will lose very quickly. So these are things you need to be thinking about, and this comes from experience of playing the quests, dying, learning from your death, and doing better next time. The play, die, come back stronger is a definite mechanic of the game, and a lot of other games use this mechanic. Platformers do. You'll learn how to overcome different areas of the game. You'll die, you'll come back, and you'll do it again. And coming back to that idea of thinking ahead, if I see a lot of these weapons racks around, I'll realise that melee weapons are going to be more prevalent in this quest, and so I will be thinking more a melee character would be better for this quest. As it is, I've chosen a wizard, and we'll see how we do with him. When you open a door and there's more than one creature, look at the different creatures and see which you don't mind being up against. Now, they both do similar amounts of damage, but this one has 30 to hit accuracy, which for the first level is very high. So we want to get rid of him. He could knock a few health off us. So we will. And this is where our ally gets in our way, but we'll use this opportunity to put some more space between us. So we turned what could have been a negative into a positive. And now he takes the hits for us, whilst we stand at a distance and take them out. Now I'm going to get rid of that hook now, because this gives us a higher arm. And that gives us range. Wasn't very helpful, but the chances you take. Now I'm going to go against the back wall here just to put an extra space of distance. That's my main concern whilst exploring the level, is making sure there's plenty of distance between me and potential attackers. And he's slowly out of sight. And I should think we should be quite comfortable in getting rid of him. Easily done. This isn't really beneficial for us. It's beneficial for our backup weapon. There's nothing in that slot anyway, so we'll take it. Now, instead of just clicking over to the altar and walking straight over, I can see these unexplored areas down here, so I'm going to go back up against that back wall just to make sure there's more. Yeah. Dungeon features that can give you bonuses and penalties are very dangerous to do. They don't give you the clues like potions and scrolls do with the name, because they're all named the same. So you need to learn on which quests what they do. So like the glyphs on the ground in Tower of the Magus, generally bad. The altars in Mask of the Boy King quite often give you shade form, so as a wizard you definitely wouldn't. The ones on Journey to Kimon are generally beneficial, but I am going to avoid it just because don't feel comfortable whilst I'm so low on stats taking that risk. And that's another aspect of the game, is how much risk there is you're willing to take. Some things are a risk, some things you are going blindly into, so are a risk, and you have to decide whether it's a risk worth taking. So I was going to see something back to I'm distracted. Okay, another thing to be aware is our ally will now try and find a way round. What could potentially happen here is he could wake up other monsters, alert other monsters to our presence. So this is another thing to be mindful of, because he can't get round us. He's going to find nothing. So what we can do is, this guy's only going to walk at the same speed as us, so we can back off. This also shows us that there's two of them. We'll back off again. Again. And now he will come and okay, and we'll leave him to find them. The shock lizard, because it is a lightning creature, it gives off damage when it dies, which this guy just happens to be vulnerable to, which is even more beneficial to us. So I'm comfortable letting him attack creatures while I put space between us, because if he dies, he's going to do damage to them as well. And if he does damage and survives, then all the better. But this has given us an opportunity to put some space between us and him. So we can easily dispatch this guy. And we don't have any armour, and this improves our magic, but it does give us that lightning vulnerability that he had previously. Now, there aren't any major lightning creatures apart from the shock lizards that we are friendly to us on this level. So I'm comfortable taking lightning vulnerability at the moment. There are some on the 5th level, but I'm hoping by the time we get to the 5th level we'll have some better armour anyway. Here's another lizard, so let us rescue him. As nothing has changed, we still want our lovely ally. Again, we're putting distance between us and potential people. If an ally ever gets in your way, if you just skip go, they will move out of your way. Like I say, I wouldn't usually be this cautious, but I'm addressing some of the issues that some people have been having with the game, so this shows you a way that you can make sure there's plenty of space. And our guy's going to stand in front of it again. We'll let them fight out. And his death throws was enough to kill his attacker. Now this cloak isn't very beneficial to us and would in fact give us vulnerability to acid and poison. And as anyone who's played the game will know, poison is very deadly in this game. So that has been addressed slightly, well, or will be addressed slightly in the next update, as I do think it is too harsh. We don't want to be caught with a vulnerability in case someone has a poison attack. They're not common until till the 5th level, so, but I still don't want to take that risk. This guy is doing silver attacks, so be careful of him. Once you've played the game for a while, you'll begin to recognise. Let's just take that. You will begin to recognise patterns. So this structure here looks to me like it's the stairs room, just because I've played the game quite a few times. In fact, I've made it it's compulsory, and so you learn to recognise some of the boss rooms. You'll start to recognise, and so you'll learn to know what each individual thing is, and it's another thing from experience. That's what this game is about. It's try things out, but learn from them. Jump right in there, have a go, but learn from them. I'm gonna, as I said earlier, I want to get my armour up, even to the detriment of my magic stats. So I'm gonna take this. I'm going to let out a lizard, and I'm going to open this, and hopefully it's the stairs. I've got some space. Yes, there it is. And we have survived our first level. Another thing to look out for when entering a new level is look out for the level feelings. This will tell you if there is a secret or a mini-boss on the level. And this is another thing that you'll learn from experience, what each level feeling means. If you played this for the first time, that level feeling wouldn't mean anything to you. Once you've played it a few times, you will learn that the Goblin King is in fact on the 2nd level when that level feeling appears. We've started next to an orc. He won't do a lot of damage, but he does pack a bit of a punch with his attack score. So I'm going to back off. I'm hoping my lizard goes next. He should do. Outwitted by the orc. We will back up again and let them fight whilst we fire from a distance. We're happy for the lizard to take the brunt of the attacks, and he's actually doing damage as well. This isn't the best tactic for us confined space, because if the lizard dies, I will also take damage from the death throws, but as we've started in the confined space, this is preferable to the orc. You will find that occasionally you have runs of misses. I did a lot of statistical analysis on the game, and these runs definitely even themselves out. You'll get a big run of misses, you'll get a big run of hits, and generally around they even themselves out. I think people remember the runs of misses more than the runs of hits, which leads them to believe that they're missing all the time. It's simply not the case. Let's open this from the side. Starting to be on the hole. Oh. Now I could back off here and let my lizard take care of them. But then I would be caught in this tight space, and we've got quite a bit of space here before we can take him out. Our lizard's going to move out anyway, so let's do both. And I'm going to back off because he's probably going to die. Yep, there he goes. Yeah. Again, we're trying to get as much space between us and potential attackers. So, I'm weighing this up because whilst melee is my weakest score, this is a necrotic weapon, which gives me a chance of giving me health if I kill someone using the necrotic weapon. So it could be good as a backup weapon. If I come across easy monsters, you would be able to take them out and get harvest some health from them. I think it's too much of a risk for me at the moment. So we are low on health, which is another thing gets leveled at the game, is the lack of healing, and healing is tightly rationed in the game. Some quests have more healing than others, but it is tightly rationed in the game, and the best defense against the lack of healing is not to get hit. Using your techniques of lots of space between you and them. Is a good idea. Also high armour, so you're only taking 1 or 2 damage even when you do get hit. That's especially good technique when you're a melee and you have to get up close. But you will find that there is enough health in each level for the amount of damage you should be taking to get to the next level. Now, you're always taking a risk if you go above and beyond that, or if you're not very cautious when you're moving around. This cloak gives us extra magic, but it also gives us a fire vulnerability, and very shortly we're going to start coming up against fire mages, and we don't want to be caught with fire vulnerability with fire mages, because fire destroys items. On the edge here, from that side. I've chosen to go from this side because this is the edge of the level, so there's less likely to be monsters this side. So, we need to be cautious because we're low on hit. That's a tough one, whether to take or not. I think we'll leave it. Monsters this level aren't going to be doing much over 11 damage. As you can see, 12 damage here. Just in case there's anyone else in there. Now you notice this time I'm not as eager to get off the level, so I am skirting the edges of the dungeon. Now I've seen people play the game, and quite often they'll open the door and they'll see a monster, so they'll step forward, and you're just not putting space between yourselves that way. You have the as the magic user against the archer, you have the advantage of accuracy over distance. So just keep putting space between yourself and your enemy. Again, we're going to try I'm going to pick this up. To view. Now, when you're faced with several monsters at one go, use doorways to your advantage. So if they got too close to me, I'd step back one, and only one could attack me then, and the others would have to find their way round. Hopefully I'd kill the one that was next to me before they'd found their way round, which would give me another opportunity to put some space between me and them, and perhaps back off to the next doorway and repeat the process. I've heard people say that they open a door and there's 13 monsters in a room. Unless it's a boss room, that's not possible. The game carefully apportions out the monsters around the game. You will not find that concentration of monsters in any one room, unless it's one of the boss rooms, one of the mini boss rooms, which some do have a lot of monsters in. But that's the challenge of boss rooms, and you'll find that boss rooms announce themselves. They will have a different coloured door to the rest of the dungeon, so they're easy to avoid most of the time. So you'll rarely get ambushed by a lot of monsters. The only real quest where you'll be ambushed by a large amount of monsters is Battle for Stormrise, usually because your allies run off and open up lots of doors. If you find you're having a problem with that, it's okay to take your allies out. A lot of them are demons anyway, so you're really doing them a favour. Now here's a potion called Brew of Life. Now we can deduce by its name what it's going to do for us. And there we go, 12 health. And a salve of health. This did give us vulnerability to psychic damage, which is always a danger when taking potions. Sometimes they have vulnerabilities, sometimes they have resists tacked on with the other bonuses. Those are risks that you take. Again, it's do you want to take those risks is what you have to decide. If you have your bonuses, your resists and your vulnerabilities just how you want them, you might not want to take that risk. If the name isn't something you really want, say it was a potion of the bull which suggests strength and melee attacks, and you were a magic user, you might not want to take that chance. So it's all about choosing what you're prepared to risk. I have 2 lizards. 2 lizards can become difficult to control. I'm going to actually come from this side. A better direction to come from. Again, he stood in our way. If we just skip go, he moves out. And we're going to leave him to fight that. In fact, I'm going to put plenty of space between us. I'm going to leave them to it. Now we might kill him. He might kill them. We will find out. Hopefully, eventually. When someone comes back, he killed them. So